Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hope. My name is Tammy Lynn Connors. Today I have my friend Clemmy with me.
Hello.
I'm so excited to hear your story, Clemmy.
All right, thank you.
So I've known Clemmy, well, geez, probably almost 10 years now.
All right. Yeah.
Because at the casinos where I met him. So super excited to hear your story, and just to let everybody know what Hope is, helping other people evolve. And my mission and vision here is just to help people that are struggling to see that they can get to a strength. I feel like on a daily basis, there's so many people out there that feel like they're at home struggling all by themselves. And maybe you could hear Clemmy's story or Liz's story or AJ's story, and it'll give you some inspiration to get up out of bed that day. So that's exactly what my whole mission is here. So I'm super excited. I don't really know Clemmy's story. I do know that you've been traveling a lot.
I have been.
Yeah. And what have you been doing when you've been traveling?
Everything, seeing the world, just working, trying to expand my brand and try to take over the world.
Yeah, yeah. And your brand is?
Freedom Thinkers Academy is our label, and then we do music, culture, health, and education.
Nice. That's good. That's awesome. So I guess we'll start at the beginning. Where did Clemmy's life kind of start? And
I started young as a kid, and well, really, I wasn't. I was born here, but then we moved to California when I was young, and I lived in San Bernardino until the second grade.
okay.
So that's when I moved back here to Toledo and started going to Mount Vernon.
Okay.
School, you feel me? So, and my childhood was different. It was. Let me explain. Two different sides.
Okay.
To things. So, my father, he was an ex-military guy. He was in the military for a while, got out, and then he was a business owner, but he also, was a street guy.
Okay.
So we the nicest man in the world, man. He took care of everybody. Everybody loved him, and so we kind of had, everything we wanted, everything we needed, more than we wanted or needed. And after when I turned 13, 9 days after my 13th birthday, he was killed.
Oh.
So after he died, we didn't really have anything. So
Right.
as a growing up, I kind of know both sides, to have a lot and more than you need, and then less than what you need. So it was just two different type of existence.
Yeah, I bet. So you were 13, you said, when your dad was he was murdered
He was murdered in our home.
in your home?
Correct.
Oh, you weren't there, were you?
I was not there.
Thank God. Because maybe you wouldn't be here then today.
Yeah.
But did they find out who that was?
Nope.
No, unsolved.
Yeah, and that was in 1995. So.
Wow. I did see your post just the other day. Was it his birthday or?
Yes.
Yeah. I saw that the other day. So I can relate to losing your father at 13 because I lost my father at 13. Yeah. So different circumstances. His was alcoholism, and he actually drowned in our bathtub.
Wow.
Yeah. So I can relate as a woman, which is different than a boy at 13, because you're still a boy at 13, right?
Yeah.
So did your mom raise you then?
Nope, my mom didn't raise me. I kind of went from house to house. I stayed with my stepmother for a while, then another, one of my ex-stepmothers, then my grandmother, then, just bouncing house to house. I kind of was trying to figure a lot of things out. I was raised differently. Like my our upbringing was more different. Like I was more, I don't want to say mature because I was a kid, but I was just more aware of certain things because of the way I was raised. So I stayed away from things that would get me in trouble, but I also was a kid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So at that time, and I was young in the household, just like my family all expected me to be, my father, kind of. You know what I'm saying? And they always used to say I was grown. Like even now, you hear like people like, oh, you were so grown when you were young, and you were grown. So that's how you kind of thought and acted, And especially once I started having to, pay for my own stuff. Like as a kid, I bought my own school clothes, shoes, my food and everything, So it kind of makes you start feeling like you grown as you get into those ages. You know what I'm saying? And doing those things. So I don't know. It made me stronger though. It made me the person that I am now, I, graduated at 17. I put myself into college. I did college for 4 years, 3.5 years. And the type of things, like I said, that I went through, experiences that I went through, kind of opened my eyes to how the world was, especially for now how I have to raise my kids in a society that's kind of different. But the things that I'm aware of and I know that I had to go through, kind of try to shelter them from those things.
Yeah. I'm sure you went through some things.
I went through a bunch of things, man. I had I wouldn't say it was tough. It was tough, but it was also fun. There was some good things in there. So like learning on your own is difficult because you don't even really know what you're looking for. You don't know what you're looking out for, what you should be going to. You don't know what opportunities look like. You don't know, you're just kind of really figuring it out yourself. You know what I mean? So a lot of trial and error, but for the most part, it was good. The type of things that happen, like I have a friend, Drashawn Humphrey, who's like one of my best friends in high school growing up. And he was a football player. He was like #1 running back in the country in 2000. He was supposed to be the Ohio State running back the year that Maurice Claret was supposed to be there in 2002. So he got signed and verbally committed to Ohio State his sophomore year in 2000. In the year 2001, he was a junior. He died while we were playing basketball.
Oh.
He just passed out and died in front of us, So that was kind of like shocking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, to me, because of, someone close to you like that died, but also he was probably the most athletic, talented, superhuman person that you can meet in your life. And I'm like, if a person that's that strong and that seemingly healthy could just die out of nowhere, then anything is possible. Anything can happen. Anything can possible. So those type of things were different for me growing up young, understanding things like that. So I was surrounded by a lot of death when I was young, but those things also taught me that that's part of life. That's how life comes at you. You feel me? And I kind of always sometimes question and wonder if I didn't know that much stuff that young, how would I handle it as I get older? I don't know which one is worse. I don't know if it's,
I can relate to you with that too, because I've had, since I was young too, a lot of death around me, whether it's family members, friends, but so much of it that I'm the same now. It's inevitable.
It's inevitable.
And I think I've seen people that have had death in their family that had never had it before, and at an older age, and they really don't.
They don't know how. They don't know how to put it. It really crushes you. So I don't know. Maybe you got to kind of look at it glass half full. That things could have been worse, but you also survive. Life is about chances, choices, the things that you do. All of us every day, right? We get the luckiest people in the world get 100 years on this planet. You know what I'm saying? And all we're doing as human beings is finding things to occupy our time on earth every day, right?
Yeah.
So every day I try to make the best of mine. You know what I'm saying? You never know when, like I said, Drashawn was one of the most athletic, amazing people I have. So many things great to say about him. Ohio State, they won a national championship the year that he was supposed to be there, and they gave his mom a national championship ring for him. They have a Drashawn Humphrey Scholarship Foundation at Ohio State. All these type of things that they did for him, and they think he's that great, and they weren't even his friend.
Right.
So like I said, if he talked to him the day before, you would tell him in a million years that he would be dying the next day,
Right.
So you never know.
Yeah. And I think that's important. I talk about that a lot, just in general. That's why you always see me with a smile on my face.
Yes,
but it's like, because we don't know,
we
do not know. And I just want to be the best Tammy that I can be every day that I wake up.
I say that.
And if I can bring somebody a smile or be kind to someone, that's what I do. And that's what you do
That's
too.
what I do
I don't know
all
if
the
you,
time.
if you know that you do that as
I
much
know
as
I
you
do,
do,
definitely.
because I've never met a person that I've said your name that they didn't put a smile on their face and be like, oh yeah.
I
we
tell
love
my
Clemmy.
kids that all the time. I sit and talk to my kids all the time and have conversations, and I'm like, what kind of reaction do you get when people find out that you're my kids? And they're like, oh, people are just always lighting up and smiling. And I'm like, well, I've earned that.
Mhm.
You know, I haven't demanded that from anybody. I haven't went and done. I've earned that just being a good person.
Yes.
Like, I'll say fairly smart person. I'm really, everybody's like, oh, you're so smart, you're so smart. I just think I'm just regular smart, but I'm an intelligent man. I'm educated. I'm extremely talented, but I've been further in life, way further in life, just being a good person.
Mhm.
That's it. Just being just a good human being. It takes you a long way.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
So let me ask you, how many kids do you have?
I have 3 kids.
How old are they?
My youngest son is 14. His name is Reese. My middle child is my daughter, Ariana. She's 16. And my oldest son is Clemmy. He's 18.
18.
Yeah.
Does he graduate this year?
Yes, he does, from St. John's.
Oh,
And he's excited, and he's going away to college. He's got a full ride to Dayton.
nice.
So I'm nervous.
You nervous for him
super
going to
nervous.
Dayton?
I'm nervous for all my kids.
Yeah.
As the older I get, the more nervous I get about my kids. I do. Just because other people's kids.
Well, yeah, I know.
Just because other people aren't, what I'm saying, raised correctly. And I know, I believe and I trust in my kids to do the right thing. But, those influences are out there, man. There's so much stuff. Like, even college, I say this all the time, like, I don't want my kids going to college. People be like, why? What are you talking about? I'm like, because you learn all your worst habits in college.
Right.
Like you get exposed. Like, I come from, a different kind of environment than college environment. So when I went to college, and I lived across the street from UT, when I started going, it's a whole different world. It's a whole different world. And it was just, it was different. It was shocking to me, like, and,
culture shock a little bit probably too, but and here you're right here in Toledo still.
You're right here in Toledo still, and it's not Toledo. It was crazy. And as you get older, you start realizing, man, once you get a bunch of unsupervised 17 to 23-year-old people at one spot, especially on campus, it's mostly 17 to 19-year-olds, and they're just unsupervised and just making a bunch of mistakes and trying things out and doing a bunch of things that they think should be done. When it's like Lord of the Flies down there. It's like, wow, that is crazy. So, yeah, I just, but it's an experience that I think everybody should have. College definitely widened my vision of how the world is, or how people are. It was the first time I had ever been around people who didn't look like me or understood how I still understood, or found the same things funny and come from the same upbringing. I had never been around people who parents took care of them, like took care of them, paying for their college, making sure they have a car, doing it. I didn't come from those kind of situations. So, and most of the people that I know or grew up with don't have 2-parent homes. You know what I'm saying? It's different. So they think different, they understood different. I was just a different guy, it was different, but it was dope.
That's good.
College was dope.
And I like what you said about that you talk to your kids about life, and I've always heard you say that your kids light your face up. I always see that. Yeah. And but I've heard you say that before, like you definitely talk to them about things,
You have to. Just because I don't think that people give children enough credit. Then on top of that, I believe they give them too much credit. I'll say these two things examples. So not giving children enough credit is they don't like to tell their kids certain things, and like they won't be able to handle or understand, and they'll never be prepared for things if you don't tell them.
Right.
And I mean, like from kids, like when I had my son, my first son, he's my first baby, and I did everything with him, and I like and instilled certain things in him, like not talking baby talk, which was, people, oh yeah, talk baby. I'm like, well, I want him to learn how to speak. you know, and babies learn anything. Baby can learn so fast. So I'm like, if we just teach these kids the things that they need to know, they'll learn those things instead of all this other stuff that people
Right.
like to teach kids. You feel me? So
Mhm.
when Clemmy was 1 year old, he could speak in complete sentences. He could count. He could read. He could do. You know what I'm saying? And people didn't think he could walk. They're like, can he walk? You're like, yeah, I can walk. Like, oh my God, he can talk.
Dogs
He's
too.
like, wow, he talks. And it's like, oh yeah, he talks.
Yeah.
You know, so just understanding, you know, so that's one thing they don't give kids enough credit for. And the other thing is, I think people give kids too much credit, especially like us, they start getting older, like teenagers, right? And when they do things, us as parents, we also, you hear this like, you're too old to be doing that. You should know better. And that's not true. It's actually the furthest thing from the truth. Kids need to be taught.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
and if they're doing things that you haven't taught them not to do and haven't gotten that through to them, then it's more of your shortcomings than theirs, you know?
Exactly, because they don't know the
They
difference.
don't know the difference. You know,
Right.
they're children.
Yes,
You see what I'm saying?
yes.
And people don't see it that way. People be
No.
like, you're too, you know, it's because they're growing and they're starting to look, all that you should know better. You know, and especially in the Black community, that's the number one. People should know, you're too old for that. You should know better. You should know. No, they should not know. How would they know? You know
How
what
would
I'm
they
saying?
know?
How would they know
If you didn't teach
if
them.
you haven't taught them?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If they knew better, they probably wouldn't have done that.
Exactly. I mean, that's even like with me, with my new job that I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
Somebody come up, if I made a mistake and be like, well, you should have known better. Well,
Like,
how would I know better?
Yeah, how
Right?
would I know
And
better?
especially kids.
Yes,
Yeah.
especially kids. How would they know better? There's no way that they would know. So that's two things that I always say about, and I live my life by those things. Like, you need to teach your kids everything. Talk to them about any and everything, no matter how uncomfortable or how small and minute that you might think it is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, you know, kids just don't know.
Yeah, that's really important. It's really, and especially, you know, like you said, I mean, in your Black community, right? I know that I don't know because I've
For
never lived
sure,
it, right?
definitely.
So I can't say, but I do know that it's definitely different
It's
than the
definitely
culture that I
different.
was grown up in.
And you know what's crazy about that is thing you hear a lot of people say about like how, because I understand you can't simulate life, right?
Right.
And but people don't talk enough about how tough it is to be a Black man.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't mean that just for like, you know, people have all these other things that they, whatever everybody's situation is different. But the one thing that is not different about being a Black man is that you have to, before we start getting into any problems that you have in society and other things, right? Just you have things that you have to do to be able to survive, right? Because when you're Black and you're young and you're a male, people feel threatened by you when they don't know you, right? So if I come into a store and say it's a cop, the people that are supposed to protect you and serve you, if I'm in line with him and he sees me, he's just gonna, you know, have his chest out. It's gonna be a, you know, kind of just try to assert his dominance, and not till I start smiling and speaking will he come down and be like, okay, he's a good, you know.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be, I shouldn't have to do that. You know,
You shouldn't
I shouldn't have to do that. And I have to do that every day of my life. I have to smile so that I'm not intimidating anyone for just being a man and Black.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
It is. And
which is
I'm going to
insane.
come with you with my side from that, just in my general life. You know, I grew up in Bedford. That's where I went to school. We didn't have any, I'm pretty sure I didn't have any Black people, you know, people in my whole years before me or after me in my high school years. So all I saw was TV, right? So, and what I saw on TV was scary.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
For sure. That's
So then when I met my son's dad and we moved together on Conley Road right there by Cherry Street.
okay.
And he was a crack addict. So I saw a lot and it was still scary to me,
you,
right?
for sure.
And but I was like, well, but he's like that too. So then it kind of, and I honestly, and this is, I'm just being very truthful here because I didn't know any
For
better.
sure.
I
How
didn't know
could
any
you?
different.
How could you?
Right. And so when my friend Laura, she started a nonprofit in Africa.
Okay.
And
That's
she,
fine.
this pastor, she met her son, Kara. Well, then her and Kara moved over here. They ended up getting married. So he was really like the first Black person that I really
Got to
communicated
interact with, for
right?
sure.
And I was like, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's not at all what he's like.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So then that's when I started growing myself and learning more and becoming a better
And
person
that's
because of it.
and that's just experience. It's just experiences. Like that's all it is experiences. Like my experience is going to be different than another person's experience, right? So I understand from all those aspects, from I understand people being scared, or I understand. I just say that the thing is that it becomes tougher to live with
Yes.
when you have to, like I said, when you have to be a certain way. I might be in a bad mood. I want to be that way that day.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
You feel me? And then
Yeah.
I can't allow that to happen, because if I do, I could lose my life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's terrible. I shouldn't be that way.
No,
You know?
it shouldn't.
And you know, where you come around, the environment that you grew up in is definitely huge on the way that you think, right? Because all you know is your environment.
Right.
It's a country singer named Jimmy Allen. I don't know if you know who he is, but he was on Dancing with the Stars. He got the Country Music Awards Newcomer of the Year last year. He's a really big good guy, and he's Black.
Okay.
He's like the first, multi-big African American country star.
Right.
You feel me? And we did a panel with him last year, and he explains how a lot of that gets to him about having to be titled that all the time. And he said, he's from Delaware, and he's like, I didn't grow up knowing what racism was. He said, because I grew up, out here, mostly farmland out there. He's like, and I had white friends, Hispanic friends,
right,
but everybody, was treated the same. His parents would discipline me like my parents would discipline him. It was always a thing. He said, I didn't experience it until I got in college. And that's like another thing I said, when you experience things like that late, it does something to you, because,
you weren't ready for
you're
it.
not ready for it.
Right.
You're shocking. You're just like, wow, what is that? You know what I'm saying? And to have to go through the type of things, like I said, that I have to go through, but I had to start that late, for him to start that late, to having to understand what being a Black man in this world, it's got to be terrifying. Because then you haven't been prepared for it.
At all.
That's why I teach my kids.
That's
why I teach my kids. I can't let my kids get out into the world that late and then understand what it means to become a Black man in the world, know how to protect yourself, and know how to, be the person that you are supposed to be at all times, for you, not for other people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For you, not for other people. I don't smile all the time for other people. I smile all the time for me, because I want everybody to be happy. People need to know that I am no one's enemy. I don't have any type of ill manner for you or anything. And that's for me. That's not for you. That's for me. That's the way I am. So. And
that is true about you, for sure. Because you always give that presence about you like that. Even I've seen you where you shouldn't be real happy at the moment, but you still are Clemmy.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Definitely. And everybody gets their times of weaknesses. That's not like, it doesn't make you a bad person if you get upset sometimes. It doesn't make you a bad person if you get sad or angry. Or emotions are emotions.
Right.
It's just that the type of things that your character shows when no one's looking. When you don't know anyone's looking.
Yes.
What kind of person are you? What kind of things are you doing? It really just goes about this, how you want to be perceived, how you want in life. I ask my kids all the time, tell my son, Clemmy, what kind of image do you want in someone's head when your name comes up? When someone says your name, how do you want to be viewed? What kind of man do you want to be? All right. Do you want someone to have a perception of you that's not you? Right.
That's good.
All the time. I teach them that all the time. I tell them every day, be the man that you want to be, that you want to show people that. So when your name comes up, they have that image of you in their head. Nothing else. Don't let anyone, there's no room for error,
right?
Or misconception.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So you're into music,
yes,
right? And do you write music?
I'll write music.
You sing?
Rap. No, that's
no,
rap.
You write it.
Yeah. Write, rap, compose. I write R&B though. I write R&B music. I write stand-up comedy. I do some writing.
I didn't know they did stand-up comedy too. So when did you start like knowing that you wanted to do that, like music and stuff? Did you do it like as a what do I want to say? like for me, like dancing's so good for my soul.
Okay.
So
My daughter's a dancer.
yeah. So I, well, from the casino, I love to dance.
Yeah.
So was it like something that you thought it would help you just to get through life, to help your days, or no, not at all?
Because like I said, where we come from, those type of things aren't even really possible.
Okay,
In our heads.
in your head,
When you've never seen or known anybody who's ever done anything, it kind of makes it, hard to believe that any of that stuff is true. The people that you see on TV are just the people you see on TV. You don't see them as real people. Like, oh, he's a celebrity.
Right.
But Charles right here is not a celebrity. He can't be.
Gotcha.
So, and that's the kind of mentality that people around when you're growing up have. So, I started doing music just because I liked listening to music. I would try it, in lunchrooms, rapping and doing little things. It wasn't until I got to about 17 years old where we started a group called the Hollow Boys. I grew up by Sleepy Hollow Park, and like I said, we were just kids rapping. We had notebooks full of rhymes, putting them on beats and putting it out, and it kind of got real big. All the clubs would book us, and we started going, and we were performing in clubs we weren't even old enough to be in. And it was just fun, it was just fun. And even, like I said, when we were doing that, none of us were, could really see ourselves becoming not national performers.
Right.
It was just something to do. It wasn't like, and then as it evolved, kind of made, well, this could be something. It could be, and but then business gets into it, once business gets into it, people get discouraged, and then life starts, once your life, the thing about people get really discouraged about everyday life, and it would derail you from your dreams for sure. All the type of things that come with just life.
Right.
What I'm saying? Just life. So I don't know. I kind of, took the good with the bad. I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot of adversity that I got over to be here today at 39 years old and still being, able to do the things that I'm doing. I'm very lucky, very lucky. But that just comes with just determination and keeping the relationships and keeping faith high and knowing that you can do and you are who the person that you say you are. That's all. Yeah.
So I think that, I always say that everybody has a purpose on earth. Definitely. We all have a purpose. We all have a gift. It's finding that purpose and finding that gift. Definitely. And it sounds like you've found your purpose.
I've always been, what's crazy is I've always been as a kid and as an adult, a person that's good at everything. I've always been good at anything that I tried it. If I wanted to do it, I've been good, except for baseball.
Not good at baseball?
I've never even attempted it because one time, so in the 6th grade, I went to Mount Vernon, and then in the 6th grade, they split our neighborhood up. So I still live in the same place, but the neighborhood might have 12 streets in it. So from these 6 streets on down, stayed at Mount Vernon, these 6 streets on up, had to go to another school.
Okay.
What school is that I had to go to? What is it? Burroughs.
Okay.
So, but Burroughs is all the way on the other side of the town. We used to walk to Mount Vernon.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And Burroughs is, you had to get bus there. So we never understood why we did that. So I was in 6th grade. I stayed on this side of it. So they made me go to Burroughs. So I went to Burroughs, but it was still some people from our neighborhood.
Okay.
Because they had to go over there too.
Oh, yeah.
So we all hung together and they all played basketball. I played basketball. I was good. So, the whole team, we bonded. It was another thing that happened when I was there. I met a kid, Dan. He was the starting point guard when I got there. I ended up being the starting point guard and they put him at the 2 guard. So we were the starting guards for the team. And we used to go over his house in the mornings before school, and he would play the game. He had to say and stuff over there. His mom would cook breakfast and stuff like that. And we would walk to school. He stayed right up the street from the school. So some of the days we would do that. Some of the days we would walk home from his house. We kind of formed a bond. Yeah. And one morning he was there, him and his little brother and his mom, and his mom's taking his brother to school. He said, "Oh, I'm gonna walk." He said, "All right." Boom. He walks to school. He gets hit by a semi truck. Oh. He got ran over by a semi truck and got killed. Oh. Yep. So that was kind of like really tough.
Yeah.
on me, you know what I'm saying?
And how old were you then?
11.
11, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really.
Yeah, it was really tough, so we were all, that made us even more tight,
Right,
that
right.
made the team even more tight. We ended up winning the championship. And so everybody on the team after basketball, they go play baseball.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, oh, I'm going to play baseball.
Right.
Everybody else plays baseball. It's just
Right.
baseball, right?
Baseball. I got
So,
this.
the first day, and baseball is so boring. I didn't know it was so boring. I was just, they had me on the outfield and nothing came out. I was just sitting out there in the sun all day.
Right.
So it was like the last play of the game. Boom, they get a ball that comes my way. I'm like, all right, I got it. Lost it in the sun. Boom, hit me in the face.
Oh, no.
Call my dad. I am never coming to baseball again. That was my first and only time ever playing baseball.
Yeah, so baseball wasn't your
So I
game.
didn't try. I just never tried.
You
I'm not
never
saying that,
tried.
I just never
So
tried.
that's the thing that I heard you say, the word determination.
Yes.
And so I think that so many people, like you said, they give up so quick on their
yeah.
dreams and their visions and things like that, because I believe part of the reason is we live in such a microwave society.
Society
We
makes
want
it
it now,
so
now, now, now,
easy
now.
to give up on.
Yes.
things. I say that all the time. On anything, on your dreams, on your relationships, on anything, school, and anything. It makes it so easy to give up on things.
Mhm.
I say that like marriage, people, give up on marriage so quick, especially it was crazy because people be so religious, right? You get somebody that's so religious and marriage is oath before God,
Mhm.
and that you give him all these oaths. And people be so quick to just give up on that oath.
Yeah.
Like it has you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I'd be like, God showed me the way, I'm gonna get another. And then
Right.
you just give up on the oath that you make before God. Like,
Right.
because society makes it okay.
Yes.
You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? I don't agree with anything like that. All of that stuff is just like, I try to teach my kids that as much, like, be the person that you say you are. Don't go into anything that you're not gonna do your part that you say into. You feel me? You get married, you married, man. There ain't no in between with that. Like, don't go out here just willy-nilly and making these bonds with things that you plan on breaking or that you're just okay with breaking.
Right.
People are okay with breaking all these kind of things,
Yeah.
all the time.
All the time.
And because it's easy to do, you could drop out and go get you a GED. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
You can go like all of it, like just like if you've been going to school since you were 4 years old,
Right.
and then you want to wait till you're 16, 17 years old to quit school.
Yeah.
You don't even
Yeah.
get the
Yeah.
prize at the end.
And
of
then
it.
I can almost promise that the kids that do that at 16, 17, when they're sitting in their 30s and 40s, they're like,
Dead end job,
they're like,
at it because they keep going to
yes.
work and then quitting and going to another one.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's what they've been bred it,
right.
And to them, it's not even a bad thing because they know so many other people that's doing it.
Mhm. It's like normal.
It's like
to them.
normal. It's
Yes.
just, there's nothing wrong with it.
Right. And
Yeah.
there's so much wrong with it.
There's so much wrong with it. It is.
And it's that thing like just giving up, like, okay, well, and like you said, and that's, I kind of talk about that a little bit here and there too about social media.
Yes.
Of course, I'm on social media because of my business and stuff like that. And I do try to bring joy to everybody every time I'm on there,
Yeah.
but it's such a fake world.
It is the fakest world.
And
I think that's the only part that I am okay with. I'm okay with that. Just people don't see that in the world. Like I always say this, like nothing on this internet should be ruining your day.
Right.
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 Or affecting your mood because this is a fake place.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
a fake place. You cannot kill or impregnate anyone through this internet.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You
Yes.
cannot. It's a fake world. There's nothing, no one can touch you. No one can do anything to you. There's not and people just can't see past that.
Mhm.
And that's why I don't allow my kids on social media. And especially, like I said, as they got older, you got so many people that are advocating for them to be on there. You Clemmy, they're too old, they're old, and I'm like, that is the furthest thing from the truth. I know so many adults who can't decipher the real from the fake of social media.
Yeah.
And you think that a child can.
Mhm.
You think a child can handle all the things that's on here.
No.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible. And my son is he was advocating for it by all his friends on social media and all these things. So I tell him, all right, it was his 16th birthday, I want to say, or 17th. And he's like, for my birthday, I want to get social media. And I'm like, if you can give me a reason, one good reason why you should be on social media, that is the reason that's going to help you, then okay.
Right.
So we sat there for an hour and you don't have any. And I have all the valid points. I'm like, so I said, so how many of your friends are on social media? All of my friends are on social media. I said, well, how many of your friends have been in trouble from social media? All of them. And I said, and that's something that you think that I want, you to be on? And then he says this, and my son is, he's a very technical kid. So he's like, Dad, when I get 18, I'll be grown, and then I'll just get on social media. So it's inevitable. You can't shelter me from it. It's something that you're gonna have to let me experience this. And I said, that's false. The reality of it is college is something that I want you to do that I have to let you experience. Like I said, I was telling him there's so many bad things that go on in college. It's so much of you being 18 years old, which society says you're grown, but I know you're still a child.
Right.
And I have to let you go off unattended, which scares me. But that is something that I have to let you do. You can go your entire life without being on social media. You'll be perfectly fine. There's nothing on there that desires you need to have to let you do that.
Exactly.
It's not. You can go your whole life without that experience, and you'll be perfect.
You'll be fine.
You'll be perfectly fine.
You'd probably be better.
You'd probably be better.
Honestly.
And that's the explanation that I'm giving you. You have to understand that. And I understand that you don't understand that. That's why you can't be on there.
Exactly.
That's just what it is. And I understand it because most adults, they can't understand that.
No, I
They
agree.
don't understand.
I agree. If I didn't have my Thrive business and my H.O.P.E, I would love to just not be on social media. I mean, I seriously, the more and more I keep thinking about it, I'm like, because I know the difference between reality and social media, right? But some of the things I'm like, oh my goodness. And then, with the big picture, like even your kids, like looking at other kids and, oh, look at them at the beach and look at this and look at this. And then they find out though that it's not that happiness that they think it is.
Sure.
Right?
That's what it is. Definitely.
Yeah.
And even worse than that. So it's like no one wants to be responsible for things either. Like, so I seen a post one day, this is a few years ago, and some lady is posting these messages of this guy that's been inboxing her 13-year-old daughter. And she's like, saying all these things, and we need to find this guy and, bash him, all these things. And he's inappropriately talking to her daughter, and he's, saying things and doing, whatever, pictures and all of these things. And all her focus is on him. None of her focus is on her.
Right.
And I'm saying, like, all I'm seeing from this is you don't understand that is your fault. It is your fault for allowing your 13-year-old daughter to be in a world where this could even happen.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You feel me?
Oh,
that man's a pervert, but he's grown
right,
and can do what the hell he wants to do. You're right.
No, I agree with you.
And mind you, this place is fake.
Right.
So it's not like he's touching anyone or doing anything. He can do whatever the hell he wants on this internet. That's what it's for. People can do anything they want on the internet. And you allow your 13-year-old daughter to be on there. So now all of a sudden, what you've done is exposed her to stuff like that at 13 years old.
13 years old. And she's probably
she's probably scarred from that.
Right.
That's traumatic. That's a traumatic thing that you've done. You've done that to your daughter for allowing her to be on a place where children have no business being. Right. Children have no business being on there because of things like that. All kinds of things can happen.
All kinds.
All kinds of things.
I had a niece. My niece was she was on social media. My mom insisted, and she got bullied so bad. And it was, all the kids, and they say, and how many kids, teenagers especially, are out there killing themselves.
The way that you can just solve that? It's just don't get on there.
Yes.
I don't understand how people don't understand that. Just turn it off. Just don't get on there.
Yeah.
A person that's bullying you from a room that you're not in could not happen if you just don't give them no access. And then your mentality would just be perfect. You'll be all right. You don't have any stress from that. And people like to let their kids go through that stuff. They want to, and once they find out that stuff is going on, they're attacking the other people. Let's go see what we can do. No one stops in their home.
Right.
It starts in your home. Listen, there's just going to be no social media. You don't need social media. That's the first thing. You feel me? You don't need to get on here where people can even say anything about you. Because most people are just making stuff up in this fake place.
Right.
Exactly. People saying mean things about you. Those things aren't true.
Right.
And then you're starting to believe those things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because kids can't decipher the difference in that, People, and that's tough. It's super tough because, like I said, a lot of adults can't. A lot of adults can't understand or wrap their hand around certain insecurities that they have about
Yes.
themselves,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah,
So,
I agree with you 100% on that. My friends in California, they're raising it's his younger sisters, but their mom was murdered in 2020. So the oldest brother and his fiance are raising the girls. And when I was visiting them, I actually had them on my podcast, but they said the girls don't have social media
That's
anymore.
perfect.
And I'm like, and they're like 11 and 9, or maybe they're 10 and 12 now. And I'm like, good.
good,
I'm
yeah,
so glad they don't,
Yeah.
because most parents won't do that.
yeah.
You know, it's because here's the kids, they'll fight and scream, and then the parents will be like, okay, just be quiet.
That's
Here,
exactly
here
what
you
it
go.
is, for
Just
sure.
be quiet.
That's exactly what it is. I don't like the internet. If it was up to me, my kids would never be allowed to be on the internet.
Yeah.
Like my kids started getting exposed to the internet in school.
Mhm.
That was the first thing.
Yeah,
So now I have to let it in the house to even monitor it, because they're giving them access to the internet. I don't even. I'm like, I go up there like, I don't even give my kids access to the internet. Why do you give these kids access to the internet in elementary? You know?
right.
And it's the society. People think that all these things are just okay. Okay. And then kids come to school, you wonder, especially in communities like the Black community, or just, I'm not just saying Black. It's not a lot of things that people think is racial, Black and white. It's really rich and poor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just coming from underprivileged positions, kids will cling on to anything.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because the unsupervised minor is, just curious
was
about
there.
anything. Yeah, me as well. So
Yeah.
you don't. I don't think that you should be giving those type of things to kids so early when they're
Mhm.
clinging to types of things that they
Yes.
are clinging to.
Yes.
You feel what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I'm just one guy. I
Yeah.
don't know how to.
Well, we'll just keep talking
so-
about it. Maybe one day it'll click. to
Maybe
people.
one day, people
Well,
just don't understand.
no, they don't.
They don't understand things, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm more of a realist. Like, I
Mhm.
don't really have a stance on either side of certain situations. I just think right is right and wrong is wrong.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Or a spade is a spade. Black and white is black and white. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
if you got like, I don't send my kids to public schools, because I was treated wrong in public schools through and public school hasn't changed since I've been, gone. They still they do things like suspend kids who are truant. How do you suspend a kid that's already not coming to school? Is already not coming to school.
Right. That makes sense.
Like, explain to me how that's going to help that child learn.
Right.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And I got a million examples, but people, like I said, in our community, people look down on you sending your kids out to private schools, and you think you're better than them, or you sending that. And I'm like, I just want to send my kids to a school that's not going to suspend them for cutting in line for pizza and just small stuff that I was suspended. I got suspended 49 times in high school. 49 times.
49 times.
49 times in high school. I never been in a fight. I never was in a gang. I didn't sell drugs. I was the nicest, happiest kid in the world, and I didn't have any parents. You know what I'm saying? And they would suspend me for anything because there was no consequence to it, and as a kid, you kind of start thinking it's you. Maybe it's me.
Maybe it's me, right?
Maybe it's me. Maybe I mean, all these people can't be wrong, I guess, that's how I'm thinking, but I don't know I don't know what to change. I don't be doing nothing. I'm not trying to, I'm a jokester. I'm a little class clown. I'm a funny kid. I don't like being disrespected. I did have a problem with authority because the people of authority who treated you wrong act like they could just do that to you. And then as a kid, I didn't understand, but as I got older, I realized another thing about being a young Black man is people think they can talk to young Black men any kind of way, and when you're young and Black and you're just being just a regular person, people will talk down to you and look down to you for nothing, for asking a question, for doing any simple thing. I ask for an order, I go, I pay for my order's not right, I come tell you the order's not right, and then you just start talking to me any kind of way, disrespecting. I'm like, I paid to be talked like this, I've paid to be disrespected. Like, that's not right.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
So as a kid, I didn't like those type of things, and I would say things about it, and then people don't like being, caught on their bullshit. So I don't know. It was rough for me as a kid, you know, but I was always smart. Like I said, I got suspended a lot of times in high school. I wasn't there for a lot of things. I always come right to school, passed anything that I needed to pass. You know, I was, and then you had good teachers. When you had the good teachers, those teachers were like, I don't understand what these other teachers are doing because you're the best student in my class. You know,
Yeah.
like you're the smartest, and like, you know, I'm in chemistry. Like you're the smartest kid in here. I don't know how. If you're the smartest kid in physics, how your math teachers, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
Being
yeah.
how they're being to you like that. You feel me? And it was just people just are how they are. You
Yeah.
know, some people are gonna be cruel. So I also wasn't ever taught about how people are or anything. The type of things I had to teach my son about. People are gonna not like you just because it's Tuesday, not because of anything else.
Yes.
Or you know, some things don't have to have a rhyme or a reason to it, you know?
Yes, for sure.
And especially if somebody has some type of control over your life, like a teacher, right?
Yeah.
So all you have to do is find a way, you know, to do what you're supposed to do. And if at any point, see, it's the difference between you something that you don't like them doing and something that they're being disrespectful for you doing, right?
Yes.
So if there's something that they don't like, and you don't like them doing, yeah, you know, it's just what it is.
Right,
There's nothing you
right.
can do about that. You're not gonna like everybody. Everybody's not gonna like you. They're disrespecting you. You tell me, and then it's my job to protect you and handle it. You see?
Yeah.
So my son recently had a big thing. It was all over the news and everything. At St. John's, they did it was last year, February, and Black History Month, and my son started the Black Student Union back at St. John's. It
Okay.
hasn't been there since the 90s.
Oh, okay.
You know, and he started it back up, and so Black History Month, they wanted to do some things, and the school wasn't letting them. And I tell people this, like to kids, you know, certain things are bigger than, like, you know, if his list of problems that he told me, maybe if I told you those list of problems, they wouldn't be big things, but to them they're big. It's
Right.
high school, you know. He says, you know, everybody gets to play their music, you know, on the PA, but then it's Black History Month, it's our time for art to play our music. We can't play our music, you know, and it's like, how is that fair?
Right.
You know,
It's not fair.
how is that? You know,
Exactly.
and, you know, usually I'm a, boy, you there to learn, go to school,
Right.
but I'm like, you know, you're right. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
just that's just equality, right?
Right.
You know, that's just
Yeah.
what it is. So
Yeah.
he had all these things. They had a event going on. They wanted to make T-shirts. The school wouldn't let them make T-shirts. They wouldn't let them put Black Lives Matters on their T-shirt. They wouldn't do this. They couldn't do that. And then, like I said, there were just details that him and the kids that, you know, were in the, you know, the Black Student Union, they wanted, it's not like it was a bunch of kids too, man. It's maybe 13, 15, it wasn't that many kids. So he tells me the day before, and he's like, Dad, I want to stage a walkout. You know, we want to protest about us not being able to do our things. They're not giving us reasons why we just can't do things. And I was like, all right, more power to you. So him and the kids, you know, they do their thing, they walk out, you know, they got their petitions, you know, they're in the, and the school calls the fucking police on my son.
Oh, no.
And I was pissed.
I bet.
And for reasons, as I said, that are deeper than what people would say, you know. My son is 3.6 GPA. His test scores are through the roof. He, you know, sought after, he got invited to the White House in the 6th grade by a handwritten letter. He's one of the smartest children in the country. You know what I'm saying? He's a good kid, just a good child, you know? And all those other boys at St. John's, you know, I mean, they're at St. John's. It's not like they're criminals out there.
Right.
None of those kids deserve the police to be called.
Right.
That's just the overview. The underview is that anybody with a gun in the vicinity of my child puts my child in harm. No matter if it's a cop or not, just any human being with a firearm in the vicinity of my child. And when I send my child to your establishment, you are in protection of my kid, right? You are in custody of them until you are released custody, and custody is back into me. And for you to do something like that is a violation of all kind of trust and all kind of things. And they knew that because after they did it, they lied about it and said that someone else called the police. So first they tried to blame the Home Depot across the street for it, you know, and then that didn't fly. And then the news got involved. So the news outlets are calling, and I was proud of my son. My son did so well. Everyone's calling me. The news outlets are calling me, asking me permission to you know, to interview him because he's a minor. And I'm like, yeah, so, you know, me, I am, you sit back, I'm going to handle this. And my son is like, no, like that, I don't want you to come up there, you know, and I want to be able to handle this myself. He was like, other people, parents are coming up there and it's messing up what I'm trying to accomplish because they have all these other concerns and then it's backing the school into a corner. And he's like, I just want to get what's right done in the school. This is going to be for kids when I leave here. You know, so he's like, I just want to get it done. So I never had a chance to go up there, but I did tell him this. I said, listen, I'm going to not go up there because you asked me to, but I also need you to understand when I do things like this to go up there for you, it's because I need people to understand that they cannot do those type of things to you. You are my son. All right, you are my son. I am responsible for you. And I am the person that will show up every time when anybody does not treat you how you need to be treated. And they need to know that. They need to know that in person, you know? So I didn't know. He asked me, he begged me, he kept begging me because I kept, because it took a while for them to get in line. It took a while for them to, you know, like I said, they started doing a blame game with other people and these things. So a couple of teachers ended up getting fired. Well, a couple people started, I don't know who all these people are. When my son started telling me, a couple people got fired. A guy called the police, you know, all those type of things. And it's getting better. So they're starting to get some of the things that they want, and it's good to see the progress. It's good to see it. And he's like, you know, we didn't get exactly what we wanted, but we negotiated. We got some things that we needed, you know, and he's like, I could take that for right now, you know. And it's just progress. I'm like, you know, as long as you're happy, I'm happy. But it makes me feel good that I instilled those type of things into my son. That you know, he's okay with doing those things to stand up for what's right and being able to get some results.
And I think that leads to a point of communication.
Always,
you know, and there's so many times now that I see with kids, they're even at dinner and stuff, out at restaurants, they have that iPad in front of them at all times. Like I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I pick my phone up a lot, but I've gotten a lot better where I just, if my son and I are going out to dinner, I'm like, I'm putting it in my purse. There's nothing that's that important.
That's crazy that you say that, because I am like a stickler for things like dinner, right? Like ever since my kids were little, and I mean kids to middle to teenagers, every time we go out to eat, especially when they were littler, and people would just walk up to me like, you guys have the most well-behaved kids I've ever seen in life. So I'm like, these kids must be out here just tearing up restaurants. Right. Like, you know, and this is before the iPad age. And then, so now, you know, we got the iPad age in, and people don't talk. Like when we go out to eat, we talk. We're talking. No one's on their phones. We're trying to figure out what's going on, how was your day, what's going on. People don't do that. Even the way that kids, they sit in chairs. Right, they're got their feet in the chair, they're sitting there with their knees. Ever since my children were small and big enough to learn how to sit in the chair, you sit in the chair the correct way, right? And I was watching the Colbert Report one day, right? And he tells this story about going to Michelle Obama is on his show, right? And they're talking, and he was like, well, I haven't seen you since, you know, I had dinner at the White House, you know. And he was like, it was crazy because I was there, and I was so excited. And when they gave me my seat arrangement, they said, well, you'd be sitting with Michelle Obama. And he was like, oh, that's neat. So, you know, I was thinking that I'd be like in the same section of the room, and they sat me next to you, and I was like, oh my God. And he was like, oh my God, I'm sitting, you know. And he was like, and I first thing that came to my mind was my mother telling me to sit up straight in the chair when you eat. One day you might have dinner with the president. And that just touched me so much. And I'm like, it's exactly what I tell my kids, you know, you never know who's watching. When you leave out of this house, act like I taught you something. You know, be the person that I've taught you to be out in these places. Don't have people coming and being like, I seen your son and he was, you know, and people never forget.
No.
Never forget those type
No,
of things,
they
you know?
don't.
And I want to be proud for people to come in and be like, you know, you raised them right
Yeah.
because they were, you know, they weren't flopping all in the chairs,
Yeah,
you know, and doing stuff like
exactly.
that. So that was dope. It made me smile. It made me
Yeah,
feel like
because that's what you're doing.
that's what I'm doing.
It's funny that you say that too, because my son, well, Chad's 32 now, but I will tell you, there's not one person that would not come up to me and say, he is a great guy. I
That's
can't
what
call
I
him my
mean.
kid anymore.
He's still a
32.
kid. Your
He
kid.
is my kid
kid's gonna
always,
be
but-
my kids forever.
I mean,
That's
I was
just what
like,
it is.
Did you see Chad's friend Levi? They got 4 babies now. I can't believe that kid's that old. And I'm like, he's got 4 kids, Tammy. But you know, but it's true.
For sure.
But you know, that I think every parent's goal is to do that. Like, you want your kids to not go through some of the things you went through. I just had this conversation with an 18-year-old the other day. Like, we don't want you to go through what we went through. That's why we try to teach you, you know.
And more so too, like I said, also too, like the perspective is different when it's in a community like where we come from. Like,
Right.
and I say Black community because I grew up in a Black community, but it's more of a poor community than anything else. When you grow up poorer than other people, you get treated other day. And what's even different is that you start from behind. So my whole goal for raising my kids and putting them in a position is not for them to go to school and get a good job and become, you know, a successful business owner and do it. My goal for you is to be able to do whatever makes you happy in life on your own terms. Do the things that you want to. I grew up having to do the things that I had to do. Right? I've done so many things that I had to do to make sure that you can have the opportunity to do what you want to do. So if you want to go and become the CEO of a Fortune 500, then that's what you do.
Right.
That's what you want.
If that's what you want.
If that's what you want. It's all about what you want. That's the best thing. The best thing in life, that what makes people so miserable is they do things that they have to do to get by. That's where that's 90% of your stress.
Yeah.
Is doing the type of things that you have to do to live.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
It is.
You know, which is insane. And that's not what I want for my kids.
Right.
I want my kids to be able to do what they want to do.
I like that you just said that, because it's so, you know, I could probably go out and interview, I don't know, 100 people and their jobs, and they hate everything about it.
Why would they not? It's work. And it's not the work that you would rather. It's not what you, no one just goes like, yeah, man, I wanted to be a tax attorney since I was a child. And
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, and the type of things in a work day that you have to do that consumes the time of your life. Like I said earlier, all we're doing is trying to find things to do with our time while we're on earth. And when you're doing things with your time that you don't want to do, it's taking time off of your life.
Yes.
It's just adding stress. You feel me?
Yeah.
It's counterproductive. And it's just the society, it's just things, it's the way they teach you that you're supposed to, this is the way life works. It's the way the world works. And that's not true. That's not what you have to do. That's not true. You can literally do what you want to do if you just, you know, get a little nudge and be taught that, you know? So that's all.
And I think a lot of times too, with that too being said, being materialistic. There's so many people out there that are so materialistic.
It's so bad. And I understand that, because when you come from, like I said, where we come from, you don't have a lot of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then you want it. And people, and it could be anything, you know what I'm saying? When you don't got nothing, anything is just like, oh, that's, you know, let me go, you know. I know people who would just go steal the silverware when we go out to eat. They got this nice, what don't know this, it's a cracker for the crowd. I don't even know what it is. Let me see them put this in my purse. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just anything, you know, when you don't have nothing, people just take anything. Like, you'll try to do anything, you know, and that's not how it should be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's not how it should be. But, you know, it kind of makes you, it makes you like that. Like, even the schooling, like I'm saying, like putting my son in a private school just taught me how schools should be, how schools should be ran. Like, people should be aware of what the children are doing at all times. If my son misses a day in school, they'll call, he misses 2 days and we haven't heard from us. They'll come to the house.
Right.
What's going on? You know,
right.
The type of things that you care about, the type of opportunities. My son, school goes on retreats. He goes to West Virginia and helps the kids down there. And then you learn a whole bunch of history in those places that you didn't even know that happen, and you help change lives, and they have astronaut camp, and they have all these type of things that they didn't even know existed.
Right.
When I was a kid, none of that stuff was even
Right.
real. You know what I'm saying? To us, none of that stuff is real, right? Those things aren't real. That's
No.
The type of, when you hear a statement, when people say, when you grow up, you could be anything you want to be, and that statement is only true if you don't come from where we come from. Because where we come from, it's almost impossible to do those type of things. So even when I went to school and I was in college, right? So say I wanted to be a doctor. I know one of my friends, he's a doctor. The type of things that he had to do, if he didn't have parents who loved him, there's no way he could have became a doctor. He has no time to do literally anything else but study, go to sleep, wake up, go to school.
Right.
Study, go to sleep, wake up. He doesn't have any time for any of it because it's so demanding. So someone who, like me, who had to earn money, you had to take care of I have siblings I had to take care of. I ended up having a baby when I was 21, type of things, responsibilities. If you have any of that stuff, it's almost impossible, right? Because you don't have the time to do anything else but to become a doctor. And well into your adult life, you know what I'm saying? You're well into it. Like, how could you sustain that?
Exactly.
If you don't have a system? You feel me? So those type of things are just not. And on top of that, I don't even know any doctors or lawyers.
Right. So
so there you have that. You know what I'm saying?
Too.
You don't have so it's different. It's not the type of the cliches that you hear. Those things are not for the people in places where we come from. It. I only say that to say that those things are not impossible, though. You just have to figure a way to become and get into a situation where you can be able to do those type of things. Like I've done, and I've put myself in a position to be like, well, my kids can do whatever they want. You can really do whatever you want, whatever you want to do. You want to be a doctor, go be a doctor. You know what I'm saying? You want to be singer, go be a singer. You know what I'm saying? There is nothing that's out of the realm of possibility for you. And you're young, you don't know what you want yet, so go try that out. And if it doesn't work out, go try something else out. There's nothing wrong with failure. The only thing that's wrong with failure is if you do not fail. If you don't try to fail, if you don't do anything with something that you want to do, you failed already. Already. I preach entrepreneurships. I teach people all the time, like, quit your job. Listen to me. Quit your job. And this is why I say that. So I have this thing about school. So school, you've been going to school since you were 4 years old, and you've programmed to go to sleep at a certain time, you wake up at a certain time, be on time. Your school system when you're younger is bedtime, nap time, lunchtime, playtime, those type of things. You get older, it's class to class, lunchtime class. You got extracurriculars. You go home. Your home time is based on making sure that your school is okay. So you do your schoolwork, you do your studying, you got your couple hours to do whatever you want. You go to bed on time so you can wake up on time, and you do it all over again. You do that for years of your life. You feel me? High school, college, the same type of thing. High school is done for you. So by the time you get to college, you can do it on your own. That's your test to see if you can do it on your own so you can get into the real world and do it all over again. And I say this. The discipline that it takes to do those things, you will get the same reward out of it if you do that for yourself. So if you take that same structure and you put it into, say, selling lemonade, which is, I use lemonade because it's easy, it's simple, and also lemonade is made out of waters and lemons and oranges. Waters and lemons and sugar. But if you just went to sleep at a certain time, you woke up and you put that same discipline into doing whatever it is that you want to do, you can make however much money you want to make, and you can do it on your own terms. All right, the same discipline, the same time, and that means researching, testing, finding your markets, doing the type of things that it takes that you're already doing for someone else's dream. That's just what you're doing. All you're doing, I tell people this all the time, you are a millionaire. What you do in your job makes you $1 million, but you make it for someone else, and he just pays you the percentage out of it that he wants you to pay you. And that's just what it is. And you could just do that for yourself at any time. And I know society makes it seem so scary to do that. And the way I'm saying it, you're like, well, you're just saying that. But in reality, I got bills, and I got kids, and everyone has those things, but you'll have those things forever if you don't step out and do something for you. Just step out and do something for yourself, and you'll never know. It's a whole world of type of things that you can do out here, and it could be something that you actually like doing.
Yeah.
Something that you actually like doing. I can sit here and say that I'm happy that I make a living doing the things that I like to do. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing better than that. And I can teach my kids that that's possible.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you said you're touching the movie, but I was in a movie with Adam Sandler. That's about to come out. Like, that's going to be so insane to be able to sit down and watch that with my kids. My kids love Adam Sandler. We've seen every Adam Sandler movie. And for it to be a reality that I'm just going to be on the screen with them is insane.
Yeah.
You know,
were you in the same area with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the same area, in the same scene. So I don't know how they're doing the editing. So
right.
I don't know. So I just gotta wait and see how it, you know what I'm saying, how it is. And just me being, in it, extra, I'm not, a main character or anything, but just
But
even
still.
the experience was amazing and great, and something that I can show my kids that I actually did.
Yeah.
I'd actually done that, just doing work and doing things that I would like to do, that I love to do. And I'm from Toledo, Ohio, man.
Right.
I grew up without parents, you know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy, so you never know what you can do, what kind of things you can do. Just going out there, having a leap of faith,
Oh yeah.
trying some things out.
Have you ever listened to Steve Harvey's Jump?
I have not, but Steve Harvey is a very intelligent man.
You have to YouTube his Jump, and anybody else too. And he talks about almost everything that you just said.
What's crazy about that is I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
When I talk about the type of things I talk about, they be like, Steve Harvey talks about that. And that's crazy because I understand that Steve Harvey comes from the streets of Chicago and a rural area, like how a rural area that I grew up in, no matter what city or state you come from, your mentality might be different, but your circumstances are mostly the same when you grew up in, you know what I'm saying, in disimpoverished, impoverished areas. It's not a lot of options,
Yeah.
It's just not a lot of options, and you don't even have to be poor, because most of us didn't know we were poor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't economically, Toledo is one of the poorest cities in America. You know what I'm saying? And not only is Toledo one of the poorest cities in America, we're surrounded by most of the poorest cities in America. So if you go in the top 15 cities, you see, poverty-wise, Detroit, Cleveland is 1 and 2. You got Youngstown, you got Gary, Indiana, you got Chicago, you got Flint, Michigan, you got all of these are driving distance, right? All of these cities are the poorest cities in America are driving distance.
Right.
So and people, you can go their whole life and never realize this. I didn't realize this till I was older, that we're just come from poverty. That's just it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when you're living in it, you don't see it that way. You
Right.
don't see it as poverty. You feel me? So it's different. It's harder, it's harder to get established. It's harder to get, so even just doing music, like there aren't any record labels around here,
Right. Yeah.
there aren't going to be, just because, there's no money in these places,
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you're doing something in a market where there is none of that opportunity, you have to go and find your way to get opportunity, and
that's what you did. And you're doing.
Yeah. And anyone can do it.
Yeah. That's what I love that you're saying that, because anyone
can do it. All you have to do is believe that you can. Anyone can do it. And I mean, doing anything. That's what I be trying. That's the biggest thing that people don't get. You literally can do anything. You can just do it. People always think that they need circumstances for something. I want to move out of town, but I got to wait till I serve this much amount of money. Like that doesn't happen. It's life. Something's going to happen to you in life where that amount of money is not going to, year 1, year 2, year 5 with that goal, still trying to, and for real, you can struggle anywhere. You can literally just pick up and go somewhere else and then start over and try it out. If that's what you want.
Right.
If that's what you want, you literally can do anything that you want to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I've been trying to.
You always hear all those excuses, though. Like you said, there's so many excuses, and even.
And not saying that they're not bad ones. They're not saying that they're not good excuses.
Right.
A lot of people have good excuses.
And I think a lot of it's fear, for sure. The fear, of, well, if I leave my job, and I have a perfect example of that. So when I left the casino in 2018, of course I have my product that I promote, and I took a big leap of faith by doing that, because I was making okay money, and my mom and my nephew lived with me, and I quit the casino on March 28th. On March 30th, my nephew was diagnosed with ulcerative pancreatitis.
Wow.
And within a week, he started having surgeries. He had to have 10 major surgeries, like in 15 months. He was just turned 7. He was just turning 17 in April. But with me taking that leap of faith, if I would have been working at the casino, I'd have been fired anyways,
sure,
because
yeah.
I would be spending time with him. But
Definitely.
it was that leap of faith that I did, you know, and I think that sometimes we don't see that we can do the things
That's
that we can
exactly
do.
what it is.
And then when we
Because
start,
no one ever tells you
no
that.
one ever tells
No
you
one
that.
tells you those type of things. And I say a lot of our trauma and a lot of our things in our speaking, in our thoughts process, and all of that comes from our childhood. So if you didn't hear a lot of this stuff being reiterated into yourself as a child, as an adult, those type of things are just not going to be there. You know what I'm saying? And you can change the way you think, but you have to change everything about yourself to even be able to do that, right? So I'm living proof of having to change a lot of things that I was programmed from, and I'm still a product of that stuff. So it's still tough, you know, on certain things, but to even just change like my lifestyle of eating, you know, I come from where food is just so good, you know, people make these type of foods and all these type of things. And it's like, to me, not being able to eat any of those things anymore and starting to understand that there are different things like those, the type of things that I just know to eat weren't even an option when I was a kid.
Right.
Like, that's scary, right? That's insane. Like there's no even way to even put it. Like, the people who were feeding me didn't know those things existed. You know what I'm saying? It's just the lack of knowledge or understanding that that's the way. Like, they just know what they've been taught in our kind of community. That's how it goes, and it's just bred the same way. And those type of things will take years off of your life.
Oh yeah.
You know, no one's trying to come over and teach us how to expand our life. So at Freedom Thinkers Academy, that's what we do. We teach ourselves, you know, and go out and promote health and proactive instead of reactive. You feel me? Don't start changing once there's something wrong.
Right.
Let's change before there's something wrong.
Right.
You know?
What is that? You don't want to pay for something, but you'll pay for illness in the end, because that's what happens.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
You know? And like I said, you know, everybody wants to be able to get, you know, more time with their kids, you know, without sickness, illness, so much pain, you know, there's so many people in such a disarray just from simple things like eating. Yeah. That's just it. Right. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't drink. I don't do that, but you eat.
But you eat, and God only knows what you're putting in your body.
God only knows what you're putting in your body, and now those type of things have you sick at 40 years old. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that's unfortunate. You know, and also unfortunate for the person, because the person just didn't even know any better. Right. I'm just eating. I'm not really doing anything wrong. Right. Right. I don't allow my kids to drink soda, pop. You know, and we have this conversation all the time. Like, we just had it this week, for real, because you know, as a kid, everyone's drinking pop. Right, exactly. Everyone's drinking pop. You know, I always say this to them, like, I understand that when I'm the only person telling you something and the rest of the world is telling you it, it makes it seem like I'm just saying it because I'm your dad. I'm trying to control you. And I'm like, but the only reason I tell you anything is because I want the best for you. Anything that I ever tell you out of your mouth is the best thing for you. Yes. Right? I want the best for you. I want you to be okay. I need you to understand that pop is not good for you. Right. Just because they make it so acceptable, and they got all these celebrities promoting it, and anyone can buy it, it makes it seem so friendly. Right. You know? And it's just not at all. I stopped drinking pop when I was 17 years old. I went to the University of Toledo right before I went to school, and Russell Simmons came, and I had a seminar there. And he started talking about it. He had a lawsuit against Pepsi because they had some other things. He just started telling you the dangers in it, you know. He's like, go take you a Pepsi and pour it on, you know, your car battery, and it'll eat the acid, will eat the corrosion off of it. You digest that into your body, you know. And what's crazy about that is, like, these people with these long-term effects, and it's addictive, you know. It's addictive, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't want anything in me that's addictive. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand how addiction can be. You know, people only see certain things as red flags, like drugs are bad, those are addictive. Yeah, but pop is bad. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, those type of things, like, it's just, I don't put one in front over the other. Like, you were definitely slowly wilting away at your body. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And then when you do get those illnesses, they're not gonna equate those to pop. They're gonna have all these other things, that's wrong with you. But for sure, that has a definite effect on you. And it's crazy because my kids are like, Yeah, we used to think that, we did. We used to think that because all the kids were drinking.
Right.
But as we get older and I understand, I'm like, oh, I understand what Dad was talking about.
Mhm.
Because, we don't drink it, so when I do drink it, my stomach can get to hurting. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be. And my daughter's like, and it's nasty. It's not even, it's so sweet, and it's so
yeah.
good. It's like, that's terrible. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm so glad, that
Yeah.
I could be able to pass that on to y'all to understand just, those things is not nothing that you need. You don't
Yeah.
need those things. You
Yeah.
feel what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And if you can be able to have the discipline to not drink pop, you'll be able to discipline to say no to other things.
Yes. Yes.
And that's the biggest, lesson that I could teach my kids. Say no to this, and you'll be strong enough to be able to say no to these other things that you know that you're not supposed to.
Right.
That's
right.
all.
So now with your, what's it called again? Your
Freedom Thinkers Academy.
Freedom Thinkers Academy.
Yes.
Is that like freedomthinkersacademy.com?
Or
just
freedomthinkers.academy.
Academy.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you were traveling quite a bit with that, right?
Yes.
For a while there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you still
Still
travel?
travel.
Still
Correct.
travel.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thank you.
And how many do you guys like that founded the?
Well, the founder is Freeway,
Okay.
Philadelphia Freeway. He is he's a national artist signed under Rock Nation, under
Okay.
Jay-Z. So we have the company that he founded, and our company is also under Rock Nation. So
Okay.
and we just have a bunch of different divisions where we do different things.
Okay.
Education. We go to schools, speak at schools. We give them books, laptops. Man, tons of things. We work with centers. We do on the website. You can go on and you can get work first certifications through our website. We have professors who teach you, get you certified. You can get things like RN license or nursing license certificate. You can get tech license to become a certified computer tech, and things that put you in the workforce where you start making between $50,000 and $80,000 a year, just right on our website.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Type of things that showing that you can do these things. There are programs out here for you that we can, because like I said, a lot of this stuff, not a lot of it, all of it, everything in the world is information.
Right.
That's all it is. The more information that you have, the more options that you have.
Yes.
Right? Where I come from, you're limited with information.
Right.
So you only are picking between the type of things that you are accustomed to or just privy to. You feel me? And it's not till you get out and start seeing some of this world that you're like, oh, that's even an option.
Right. Right. I didn't even know that was an option.
I didn't even know that was a thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest thing. So we try to get out here and show a lot of people that there are a lot more things than just, what you may think that your options are.
Yeah.
So you can start here and do what you want to do instead of doing what you have to do.
Right. Right. That makes sense. So you're heading out to LA again soon?
Yes, I'm going out to LA again soon. I have to be right back though. My son graduates till the 22nd.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm happy, man. He's happy.
Yeah, that's good. I saw his prom pictures
man.
last week. Or
He's getting so old, man.
Yeah.
Tears, man.
He was like, I was like, oh, yep, he's grown up.
He's
Yep.
he's getting old, man. Just becoming the man he's gonna want to be. So he's got college next, and man, it's gonna do great. I think it's gonna do great. We went and took the college tour in Dayton. I didn't really want him to go to Dayton, and after I took the college tour, I kind of was more open to it. Okay, I got more.
Now, does he play sports?
He did at St. John's, but he's not in college.
Okay.
No, he's just a student, man. He's a student, and he has some good things up his sleeve that he wants to do. They have these study abroad programs that when he was there, he was like, I don't want to do it. But then we talked the other day, he was like, I think I'm going to do it. I'm like, yes, yeah, go out there. Hey, anytime you get the opportunity for stuff like I always say this, people think that opportunity comes in the way that they think it should come in, right? So they'd be like, oh, if this ever happens to me, so it could be opportunity standing right in front of you. You wouldn't notice it because that's not how you think opportunity looks. And I'm trying to tell him, like, you take every opportunity. You don't know what doors those open. Right. You don't ever know what door. You don't even know what you like yet. Yeah. You don't know, you're a kid. You don't know what you like. You have so much world out here. You think you can figure it out, and you go out there and you take every opportunity that you might be able to do something that you'd be like, oh man, this could be it. Yeah. They have a stock marketing class, right? I guess somebody donated $1 million in 1999 to it. So the kids oversee that fund. At right now, it's at $60 million.
Wow.
Yeah, and every person in the program gets placed into a job out of it. They have 100%,
Wow.
100% job placement rate after school. That's crazy.
That is
And out of the
crazy.
big firms, the biggest firms and all those things,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you ain't gonna get into that.
Right.
Even if that's not what you want to do.
Right.
Just to
You
know
learn-
it.
just
Just
to
to
learn
know
it,
it.
yeah.
That's some knowledge that you should
That's
have.
right.
You
That's
feel what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah.
That's some knowledge that you should have. You can never learn too much, man.
That's exactly
You should
true.
never learn too much. So just
Yeah.
things like that was nice. They also had they make it so accommodating that you don't have to leave the campus. That was the seller for me, because
Yeah.
I know Dayton is like Toledo. It's a rough city,
Yeah.
and you don't have to go off the campus for anything, like literally anything. If you need a prescription, they have a deal with Walgreens. So Walgreens brings the prescriptions right onto the campus. You can pick them up. Even after your first 2 years, if you don't want to stay on campus, they have off-campus housing. But the off-campus housing is on campus. They
Okay.
bought all the houses. They made them part of the campus. So our university owns the houses and stuff. It's so dope. Like, you just don't have to leave. You always can be good there. So I like that.
That gave you a
It
peace
gives
of
me
mind,
a
I'm
peace of
sure.
mind for
Yeah.
sure. It gives me a
Yeah.
peace of mind for sure.
Good.
Definitely. So
All right. Well, I think we've learned a lot about Clemmy today.
thank you.
No, thank you for jumping on here. So is there any words of wisdom you want to tell anybody? You've spoken a lot of words of wisdom.
Thank you. I do this a lot, man. I could go for hours doing this. I think that if I could tell anybody anything, is to not waste time hindering on things that's negatively, especially in your mind. A lot of the things that be in your mind are not fact, they're just fact to you, right? And even if you're going through something, we all go through things. I go through my own things, and I say this, like, your brain has triggers that put you into those moods. And if that's true, there's got to be triggers that can get you out of those moods just as fast, right? Go find some things that make you happy. Find the things that you get out of your comfort zone. Get out of it. If you go home every day the same way, start taking a different path. You might ride past and see something that sparks your interest, any type of thing that could just change your day. Be nice to people, give compliments, one person a day, man, you might be able to change their life, So,
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you. I'm gonna give you a hug.
yes.
Well, thank you, everybody, for jumping on Hope. We will talk to you soon. Once again, Clemmy, thank you so much for
Thank
jumping
you.
on here with us. It was so good. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.